Today we're going to be talking about a pump that I see quite often, the Medela Pump In Style Max Flow. This has been popular on the market for a little while. It kind of replaced the old Pump In Style. This was not Max Flow, just Medela Pump In Style Advanced or whatever, a couple years ago, but they actually have a lot less similarities than you'd think. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about in this video here. If you already have this pump, we'll show you how to set it up, the features that it has, and how to work it. If you're still looking for a pump, there is a quiz down below that will help you find a pump, and I will share some of my personal thoughts about this pump at the end of the video. If you're new here, my name is Allison Tolman. I'm a breast pump expert and a coach for working moms. We talk a lot about breast pumps on this channel, so hopefully you're subscribed if pumping will be part of your life. A few years ago, though, we developed a custom device to test and compare breast pumps. So a lot of the information that we'll be sharing today is data that we've pulled from our own testing from that device that a wonderful engineer helped me build. And actually we have a version 2 coming out that I'll be putting out a video on very, very soon because we've made a lot of updates. And oh my gosh, the data that we have on all these pumps, I think there's about 100 pumps in the closet next to me here. We like to test pumps here and compare them as objectively as possible. So that's what we're going to do. I'm also the founder of the Pumping for Working Moms program, which is a long-term coaching program designed to help career-driven women balance pumping in their careers. So if that's something you're interested in, there is a link down below for you. Okay, let's dive into this Medela Pump In Style Advanced Max Flow. It's quite the name, isn't it? Okay, Medela has been a popular brand for quite a while, and I have another video down below where I'll put some more information on that and just kind of like the brand history, especially compared with Spectra. I feel like we've had those two brands out for a really long time. They still have a lot of contracts at hospitals, doctor's offices, WICs. I see them a lot with DMEs. This kind of gives them recognition, and their name is well known. Their pumps have not been as good as maybe some of their older pumps in the last 4 to 5 years, in my opinion there. And it's interesting because they decided to keep a very similar name for this pump. This one's called the Pump In Style Advanced Max Flow, but this is the pump we've seen for a long time. This is actually the pump that I used when I went back to work like 14 years ago, 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, can't even remember now. And it was pretty good. It was okay. I didn't know a lot about pumping, which is why I am here in this space now. That really drove me crazy. And that's why I work with working moms, because don't repeat my experience there. But this was a solid-ish pump. It worked pretty well. It was a standard for a long time, and then they came out with this. But I have found that there are very few similarities between the two. So if you liked this in the past and you're like, oh, maybe I'll just upgrade to this, it is not the same. You can get this pump often from your insurance company or from DMEs, companies like that. I see that pretty often. I think it's about $220 on Amazon though, if you wanted, or Target or whatever, if you just wanted to buy it outright. Like I said, we do see it often. So let's dive into some of the suction capabilities and limitations, maybe some of the cycle speeds. I'd love to show you the pattern of this pump because it's quite a unique pattern. Some extra features. I like to talk about the Flange kit, and then some pros and cons if you're still deciding if this is the right pump for you. And then I will share my thoughts with you at the end. All right, so the suction on this pump is fine, but not great. When I'm single pumping, I can get about 230 mmHg, but when I'm double pumping, it drops down to about 190 mmHg, again, which is not terrible, but we do hear the complaint pretty often that moms are able to max out the suction. And I think one of the reasons is the suction just doesn't, I can't get it to go very high on my testing. But one other thing that's interesting about this pump is there's no display. So you kind of are guessing at which level you're on. So I feel like moms can max it out kind of easily, just kind of not being able to see. I've talked to the company many times about their pumps and products and things like that. And I think this feature was designed intentionally so that you can stop, worrying about the numbers and just kind of go with the feel, which I actually really like that concept. I just am not sure it totally played out with the suction restrictions on this pump. As you can hear, this pump is a little bit loud. So I covered up that hole because it does sound different when it's connected to the breast here, but there's kind of a weird clicking noise. So it's like one of the louder pumps that we do have. But just to go over some of the features here, this button here on the top has some little drops on it. This is how you'll switch between stimulation and expression mode. So I just pressed it and you can see that it has slowed down quite a bit. That's because now we're in expression mode. And then you just kind of go up until you're comfortable with the suction and feel. I found that I have been able to get 9, so I got to shut that off, it's too loud. I've been able to get 9 different levels on there. Again, you can't really see it, which is, I think, supposed to be good, but kind of annoying in my opinion. But it has what you need. It's a basic pump. It does have to be plugged in, so I have seen it come with some cups recently. Let me grab them real quick. So I have seen it being marketed as like a hands-free option, but you still have to plug it in, which So then it kind of defeats the purpose, I guess, for me. So the Medela cups are actually pretty good. I wore yellow today in honor of this Medela video. But the cups are pretty good. But again, you have to be plugged in. So I don't know. I don't know if that really like solved a problem or not. But one thing I do really like about this pump is the flange kit. They did some really cool things here. They made way less pieces, which I love to see, because if you have done any kind of pumping, you'll know that cleaning parts is really annoying. So they have actually made it into 3 simple pieces. Actually, this comes off as well, which I love. I love being able to switch out the actual sides of the flange. While I'm holding this, you can kind of see that it's not totally circular. Can you see how it's kind of got an oval shape? Which I really, really like. I find that moms can turn it whichever way fits their breast tissue best, which I really, really like. The soft silicone on the outside I'm a big fan of as well. But you can see that they put the traditional valve that goes on the bottom here, and they attached it to the backflow protector. So you really only have these 3 pieces and then the bottle, I suppose. I really like that. And that was smart on their part. Very cool. Yeah, so the flange kit on this is actually really nice. It does have narrow mouth bottles. So if you're looking to use this with other pumps, you want to keep it all consistent. Just know that that is a narrow mouth bottle there. If you want to do single pumping, you'll just plug this right into the flange kit right in the back. And then you need to plug this up on the little triangle piece here. If you want to do double pumping, you'll simply unhook that and hook this to another flange, and now you can do 2. You have to close the suction loop if you want to do single pumping, okay? Because the suction needs to be able to stay in the system. That's an important piece right there. All right, the cycle speeds on this pump are okay. In stimulation mode, it's about 120, which is really similar to the Medela Symphony, which has been a well-studied pump. I like to see faster cycle speed, so that's great. In expression mode, I think it's closer to around 55, all right, which again is a really middle-of-the-road cycle speed. An interesting thing about this pump is the suction pattern, all right, and I'm going to put a graph on the screen for you of the suction pattern. It has a micro vibration technology, and what you'll notice is, I think, again, I'm just guessing here, but I think they were trying to do something similar to the Spectra, because a lot of people really like the vibration pattern and style on the Spectra pump. We've done a video on that one too, which I'll link for you down below if you're interested in that. But this one is a lot more aggressive. So it's very like shark tooth, almost like very, very aggressive. You definitely will feel that. In fact, you can kind of hear it. I'm going to go into expression mode because it's slower. But you can almost even hear it. Can you hear us like pulsing kind of? That vibration pattern. And that is something that they've marketed on this pump as being unique, is this micro vibration technology. While I do like it, it is a little aggressive. So if you have any sensory issues, or if you're prone to vasospasms or something like that, this is going to be a very vibraty pump for you, not as gentle as we maybe would hope. Okay, so if you already have this pump and you're looking to get into it and start getting used to it, there you go. That's kind of the basic 101 on how to set up and use that pump. If you're considering this pump, I do want to talk through some pros and cons with you and give you some of my thoughts. It actually was kind of hard to hide my thoughts and opinions throughout the talking of this pump. But again, if you have this pump and this is your only option and you're trying to make it work, don't let anything that I say make you feel bad about that. Or if it's working, it's working. Okay, so as you're going to find out, this is not one of my favorite pumps, but if it's working for you and you like it and it's okay, then it's okay. All right, so there's no need to make a change just because of what I think here. So the pros of this pump is I actually do really like the flange kit. I think that was smart. I like the design. It's really comfortable. It's smaller than like a Spectra or something more similar to, but other than that, that's kind of where the pro list ends for me. Cons is it's not rechargeable. It does need to be plugged in, which is kind of, if you're an exclusive pumper, a little bit more annoying. But even if you're using it at work, I like it when pumps have batteries. Not all of them do, but that's a con for me. I really don't like that you can't see the settings on it. So again, I get it. It was supposed to be more intuitive, but I think that paired with some of the limitations of suction strength. And to be fair, this model is from late 2020, so it's a couple years old. And they make changes on these pumps too, so it's not always exactly the same as what we've seen. And I do think the company is trying to listen to moms, but again, just not executing it super as well as some of their other pumps. Medela Symphony is still a really, really nice pump. Does a lot of great things, work well for a lot of moms, but a lot of their newer pumps are kind of on a miss category for me. And you'll hear that in the pumping community and from a lot of lactation consultants as well, is that this is just not our favorite pump. Yeah, it hasn't performed as we would like. So it's 2025. All right, there are some really great pumps on the market. We don't really have to default to these older brands that we've been seeing, especially if they're not putting out products that are as good as they used to be. And this one falls into that category for me. So there is a quiz down below. If you're still looking for a breast pump, I highly recommend you try that. That'll give you a lot of our top recommendations on there. We did a review video on this several years ago, and just kind of walking you through it. But I want to share my opinion with you here just so you kind of know where I'm at. If you have this pump and it's working well for you, great. If you have this pump and it's not working well for you, a lot of times they can be fixed with other pumping practices and getting things right. There's a lot of videos on the channel kind of helping you walk you through that as well. But sometimes we do need a different pump. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Let me know what questions, comments, concerns you have below. Have you used this pump? What do you think? I love looking through the comments section. That's a good place for you to look through too and see what actual users are saying and see what you think. All right, good luck and happy pumping.